And these events were triggered by two blasts at the grave of Qassem Sulemiani, the Iranian general. He died in 2020. So much has happened since then. Two wars, one pandemic, and a change of guard in Tehran in the last 4 years. Yet, he commands a lot of respect. Qassem Sulemiani is borderline mythical in Iran. The question is how? Let's take a closer look at his life. Who was this man? Suleimani was born in 1955, so much before the Iranian Revolution. He was raised by a family of farmers. Before the revolution, he worked as a construction worker. But in 1980, he joined the Revolutionary Guards Corps, a militia formed by Ayatollah Khomeini. Suleimani's big test was the Iraq War. It broke out in 1980 and lasted until 1988, 8 years. And that's where he made his name. After the war, Qassem Sulemiani was counted among Iran's top 10 commanders. He was deployed along the Iraq border. Then in 1998, he got a new task. Suleimani was asked to lead the Quds Force. Now, the Quds Force is part of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. It's one of the 5 branches. And their focus is on operations outside Iran, like helping proxy groups in other countries, plotting targeted strikes, or spying abroad. That's where Suleimani excelled. He turned the Quds Force into an elite clandestine agency. And in the process, he built a network of Shia militias across West Asia. And his character helped him. You see, Qassem Sulemiani was not like most generals. He was soft-spoken, unassuming. No outbursts, no radical statements. He stayed in the shadows. And Iran's supreme leader liked that. He called him a living martyr. So with the Ayatollah's support, he began his job, first in Iraq. The Americans occupied Iraq in 2003. Suleimani supported the insurgency. He gave roadside bombs to Shia fighters. He bled the US Army one attack at a time. The Pentagon says Suleimani killed hundreds of soldiers and wounded thousands more. It tells you why the Iranians loved him. He was taking out the so-called Great Satan. Then came the Arab Spring. More opportunities for Qassem Sulemiani. He saw that Bashar al-Assad's Syrian regime was in trouble, so he sent Shia militias to support him. Some were from Iran. Others were refugees from Afghanistan. Together, they became the Fatemiyun Brigade, an Iranian proxy in Syria. Then you have Hezbollah. Their ties to Iran predate Suleimani's rise, but he cemented those ties. Experts say Hezbollah now takes orders directly from Tehran, almost like an extended arm. Same with Yemen's Houthis. When Suleimani was killed, Houthis wanted swift revenge. They called for strikes on US bases. These same groups are now continuing the fight. Hezbollah is shelling Israel. Houthis are attacking ships. Iraqi militias are firing drones at US assets. All of this was built by Qassem Sulemiani. He armed, funded, and organized these groups. He made them directly answerable to Tehran, and his fighters loved him. Suleimani was a soldier's general, meaning he liked to be on the ground. During the US occupation, he would slip into Iraq. During the Israel-Lebanon war, he was in Beirut, and later, during the war against ISIS, he was in Baghdad again. Reporters would often spot him in pickup trucks or command posts, and his fighters respected that. When he died, millions of people hit the streets. There were rallies in Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, and Pakistan. And of course, the biggest were in Iran. There was genuine grief in the country because he gave Iran its most potent weapon, its proxies. And as the West calls it, the axis of evil, that's how the West sees it. It gives Iran an asymmetric advantage. Just look at the Red Sea. If Iran was directly attacking ships, they would be in trouble. There would be counterattacks. So what does Iran do? They nudge the Houthis on. These proxies can do what Iran cannot, and that's why Suleimani looms large over West Asian politics. Of course, all of this is from Iran's perspective. Looking from the West, Suleimani was a terrorist.
The United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qassem Sulemiani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him.
Number one terrorist, he says. That's what former US President Donald Trump called him. It was Trump who ordered his assassination. A US drone took him out in Iraq. But in Iran, Qassem Sulemiani is a hero. The man who extended Iran's influence across West Asia. Many say he could have been president one day. But would Suleimani, the politician, be as fondly remembered? It's a tricky question, because the US assassination added to his legend. He became a martyr, killed by enemy number one. Maybe that made him more popular. The fact is, we can't be sure. But there is no denying Suleimani's imprint on West Asia, for good or for bad. Only time will tell.